All right, understanding the scope and prioritizing enforcement. So you need to know how big of a problem that you have, and you have to be able to invest the time and other resources into fully understanding how big it is, how widespread it is. And it also allows you to benchmark where you're at when you begin your program. So down the road, you can look back and say, okay, is what we're doing really having an impact? Are we being successful, or do we need to change course in a different direction to, kind of have more of an impact? So understanding the scope of your underlying problem, and also understanding what your underlying problem is. And this is a big one. And it's difficult because oftentimes brand owners have multiple problems. So you might have a counterfeit problem, but you very well might also have an affiliate and distribution problem, a gray market problem, and understanding that will let you tailor your solution so that you're going after whatever you have identified that is having the most negative impact on your business. Right. And then disrupting counterfeiters and it being a hard target. And we're going to elaborate more on this. Make sure that you are being proactive about enforcement. When you have a ton of infringing listings that you're faced with, but maybe you're only enforcing once a month or only when it gets to the point that you can't ignore it and you have to be proactive and deal with it. By regularly delisting and keeping that level low, by making it just a part of your daily workflow, you're not going to have to worry about that giant buildup and then scrambling around to figure out how you're going to get stuff down. You're keeping it at a manageable level, but you're also keeping the marketplaces or the most visited parts of the marketplaces cleaner for people looking for authentic product. And then whatever listings you come across, categorize them, either if they're counterfeit or gray market or legitimate, because you're going to deal with them in different ways. And by making sure that the counterfeits are going to be dealt with in the best way we know how to deal with counterfeit, and the gray markets are dealt with in a different way. You're solving different pieces of the larger issue strategically, as opposed to just trying to get everything down under one umbrella reason. And then high-value targets. So there is a difficult balance to strike between high-value targets and then this regular delisting and the keeping the front pages of the marketplaces clean. And they really go in tandem. So you might think that going after these small sellers, maybe they only have 100 things listings, or they might have 1,000, but they're not the manufacturer. You're not tackling it at the source of the problem. But these things have to be done together. So you have to keep regularly enforcing, keeping those marketplaces cleaner than they were, and then also being investigative and making sure that you're investing in identifying those high-value targets, and then being able to handle them in a different way than you're handling the everyday seller on a marketplace. Knowing the difference and knowing where you're going to get the most impact is very important. And so we have items or processes like controlled buys to identify the suppliers. These are extremely valuable, and there's a wealth of information available about being able to navigate that process because they have very strict guidelines on how you maintain a chain of custody with an item, how you are going to present it back to the marketplace and say, hey, we bought this, we confirmed it was fake. There's just a whole bunch of hoops that you have to jump through, so you want to make sure that you're collecting all the right information at all the right steps. And again, engaging with the professional services organization who can help you navigate that process efficiently would be of a huge benefit to you. Understanding marketplace demerit systems. And this is a huge one because it can get quite confusing. Just like enforcing on each marketplace, each of those marketplace operates with their own unique set of rules and standards for their sellers. So some are as simple as, say, a 3-strike policy. So no time frame, they just get 3 strikes and then their store might be suspended or shut down for good. Others can be way more complex than that. So you might have a marketplace whose policy is, okay, so depending on the type of infringement, they might give a different strike against the seller's record. So a copyright violation might not have the same impact on their selling ability that consistently going after their counterfeit items for the counterfeit reason would. And then on top of that, you also have these moving time frames. So from the enforcement side, to get the most impact on some marketplaces, they'll say, okay, well, hit the seller once and get a listing down, and then wait 3 days, and then hit the seller again. And by doing so, they're establishing a pattern where they're not changing their behavior based off your enforcements. And consistently enforcing in that way is going to demonstrate to the marketplace that, this is a persistent seller, and, they are in violation of the marketplace's terms of service, and you might be able to get more stores shut down that way. And then another thing to be aware of is that these policies are always changing. And I know a lot of them, the point systems, they'll actually reset annually or every few months, so that's something to be aware of too. But yeah, as the Chinese marketplaces change their own policies, the demerit policies are also changing with them. So keeping up to date when you're notified of any change that's happening to their terms of service, that's extremely important.